Welcome to the lecture. From our 5-corner model, in this series of videos, we're going to specifically focus on the physical corner. To start us off, we're going to attempt to complete the task. And the question I'd like you to answer is, how can coaches develop the key physical components in young players? Those key physical components being the ABCs: agility, balance, coordination and speed. If you're working in small groups, then feel free to discuss. If you're working individually, feel free to make notes. This task should take you approximately 10 to 15 minutes. Hopefully you've had a chance to identify the key skills and tools a coach can rely on to help players develop in the physical corner. It's important to bear in mind with young players, and specifically within the fundamental phase of 5 to 11-year-olds, that we do this using the ball, and that the physical components are hidden or secondary to the other outputs of our session, or the key focus or topic. Looking specifically at the tools we can utilise as a coach to develop players in the physical corner, hopefully you've identified practices, including small-sided games, the size of the area that our players are working within, the work-to-rest ratios when the players are taking part in the practice, and also the session timeline, how a session breaks up into incremental blocks of time. Looking specifically at how we can design practices or small-sided games, for each of the primary topics we are developing in that particular session or practice, there will also be a physical output. So for example, dribbling, we may have the opportunity to work on agility, or control and receiving skills may be best suited to coordination. And on screen you can see an example of a carousel session based around developing speed, coordination and balance, with players taking part in 4 different activities and then rotating around in a carousel or circuit fashion. In the first station, players are working in pairs. One player is going to stand with their legs wide apart. The other player is going to have the ball. The player with the ball passes the ball through the partner's legs, and the partner chases the ball, collects it and brings it back to where they started. This process can be repeated for a certain block of time. In the second station, the server has the ball in their hands, with the working player receiving the ball from the air with either a bounce or on the volley, developing their coordination. The third station, working on balance, the server has the ball in their hands while the working player is stood on one leg. The server then throws the ball, the player has to move and return the ball to the server. With the final station working on agility, with the server having the ball in their hands or in their feet, throwing the ball to the side of the player for them to move laterally. They then return the ball to the server. The server then throws the ball to the other side. So the working player is working from side to side, controlling and playing the ball back to the server. A task now for you to complete. Can you select a technical topic, and based on this technical topic, can you do a survey of which of the ABCs will be best suited to that technical topic? The best way for you to complete this task will be using a bar graph. So the A, B, C and S of agility, balance, coordination and speed along the bottom, and then identify from the topic you've chosen which will be at their highest and which will be at their lowest. So for example, if I was doing a session based on control and receiving skills, my bar graph would be high on balance and coordination and lower on agility and speed. Feel free to complete this task in groups or individually, and it should take you approximately 5 minutes. Hopefully you've had a chance to survey a particular technical topic and how that particular topic relies upon or exposes young players to a selection of the ABCs. So you hopefully have got an understanding now how certain technical topics are best suited to particular physical outputs. It's also important in our coaching toolbox when developing players in the physical corner to understand the playing area sizes that we set. So smaller areas with fewer players gives exposure to high number of accelerations and decelerations and changes of direction. Whereas larger areas with a higher number of players gives exposure to more endurance type running. At this stage in your coaching development, it's important to bear in mind how an area will best suit a particular topic and have an awareness of what physical output that will give. So for example, passing as my technical topic would be small to medium size areas when working on short passing. This would give me a physical output of lots of accelerations and decelerations. Whereas if I was working on running with the ball, there would be larger distances, larger areas, and the physical output would be more related to speed endurance over longer distances. Important to bear in mind when designing small-sided games is the field size, the number of players that take part in that activity, the number of minutes that the players are taking part, and also the breaks in between. And you can see on screen the guidelines that US Soccer have produced on the variety of formats of the game for each particular age group, with guidelines around the field size, the number of players taking part, the recommended playing time, and the recommended break times. For example, under 8 players playing a 4v4 on a 30 by 20 yard field with 3 15-minute blocks of playing time recommended with 5 minutes in between. So hopefully a set of guidelines for you when designing small-sided games, specifically the area size that you lay out.